She labeled me garbage before the salmon ever reached the plates. Her tone didn't rise, it didn't need to. It was cold, clean, and calculated, slicing straight through the flickering candlelight and soft murmur of polished silverware like a scalpel on exposed skin. "She deserves better," she stated, pausing midair with her fork, not holding it like cutlery, but like a judge holding a gavel, passing sentence. I didn't react. Didn't protest. I turned toward her, my wife's mother Martha, and gave a single calm nod. "You're absolutely right, Ma." Then I rose, folded my napkin with care, tucked it inside my empty wine glass, and walked out of that dining room alone. Behind me not a word followed. Just a silence thick as fog. That was Thursday night. By Friday morning at 11 a.m., her phone had received 3 messages. One from my attorney. "The agreement is void." One from her daughter. "I hate you." And one from me. "Don't play games with trash." I still loved Sarah. I probably always would. In a buried place I sealed off long ago and left to gather dust. She had been my warmth during some of my bleakest seasons, when I still foolishly believed love alone could fix a person. We met when I was clawing my way out of ruin. No family legacy. No safety net. No polished past. Just raw grit, scarred knuckles, and a fire I refused to let die. Martha never saw me. Not the real me. She saw the absence of status. The resume I didn't have. The sins I didn't hide. First she put on a good show. Her fake kindness wrapped in sugary smiles and backhanded compliments. "Oh honey," she'd coo, lacing venom in syrup. But the facade cracked the moment Sarah moved in with me. That's when the subtle war began. Barbed comments wrapped in silk. Polite insults disguised as concern. And I swallowed it. All of it. For Sarah. Always for her. Until that night. The night Martha decided to publicly tear me down at her table, in front of her country club elite. People who bowed to power and dined on judgment. She didn't start a dinner. She launched a war. And I let her. Because a woman like Martha can't be defeated by outrage. You beat her with calm. You let her taste triumph. Let her venom stain every inch of her world until she doesn't even see the ground dissolving beneath her. I spent the next 4 hours in my truck. Engine off. Sitting in the dark. My hands never left the steering wheel. The silence roared around me like a storm. By 2 a.m. the hurt had faded. So had the anger. What remained was clarity. Precise, cold, and deliberate. That's when the real plan began. Martha wasn't just a bitter woman with an ego. She was a hidden stakeholder in her family's real estate company. What she didn't know was that the firm was on the edge of merging with an emerging tech brand. My tech brand. Or at least what used to be mine. 6 months earlier, I'd sold my intellectual property to a holding company buried under so many legal layers that even hell's finest attorneys would need a decade to find it. Martha had been playing her own long game, nudging Sarah to push for status. Get a ring, merge assets, blend legacies. She wanted a dynasty. But she never realized the crown already sat on my head. So I gave her what she wanted. Sat through her meetings. Nodded at her contracts. Played the eager fool while I rewired the foundation beneath her feet. That night, after her performance at dinner, I didn't sleep. Instead, I forwarded the final merger papers to my lawyer with a single word. Withdraw. Then I messaged Sarah. "Come alone. We need to talk." She did. I laid everything bare. The manipulation, the deceit, the games her mother had played with both our lives. I handed her documents, showed her shell companies. Contracts cloaked in betrayal. Then I gave her the signed forms relinquishing all ties. My exit. Clean and final. No strings. No leverage. She looked at them in disbelief, tears streaking silently down her cheeks. "Why?" she whispered. "Because I love you," I said steady. "But I won't be another pawn in your mother's kingdom. And neither should you." She wept, not out of heartbreak but because something inside her clicked. Then she asked, "What now?" I said nothing. I didn't have to. By 11 a.m., Martha received the first hit. My lawyer's notice. The deal was off. All contracts frozen. No further negotiation. No way out. Then came Sarah's call. 2 minutes long. Martha tried her usual tactics. Gaslighting, guilt, grand theatrics. But Sarah had seen the truth. The emails. The recordings. Martha referring to me as just a phase. The testimony from an employee Martha tried to bribe. Sarah ended it with 4 words. I don't forgive you. Then she hung up. My message was last. Just 3 words, don't play trash. And that's when it began. With no merger, Martha's firm stalled. Capital dried up. Investors vanished. Quietly at first, then in waves. Lawsuits followed. Internal cracks turned into public collapse. I didn't lift a single finger. Sarah left. Moved to a quiet town by the ocean. Used the money I gave her to rebuild. Sometimes she sends updates. Pictures, little memories. I never reply. And Martha. She still lives in that grand home with its spotless floors and imported wines she once poured like liquid authority. Her world didn't shatter in an explosion. That would have been merciful. No, what I gave her was far crueler. Silence. Isolation. The slow, steady decay of every thread she once pulled. She wakes up each day in a house full of echoes. Plans that failed, allies who left, a legacy that never bloomed. She lost not to a competitor. Not to a corporate genius. She lost to the man she dismissed. The one she called nothing. The one she never saw coming. I don't crave headlines. I don't need applause. I didn't do this for victory. I did it so she would feel it. To sit alone at her perfect dinner table, surrounded by polished glasses and fading memories. To remember the moment I stood, untouched, unbroken, and walked out with nothing but dignity. And that was enough to burn everything down. Because revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the wind that haunts a hollow mansion long after the laughter's gone. Doesn't shout. It whispers. You were right, Ma.